Which altcoins will break into the top 10 cryptocurrencies in 2023? In this video, I'm going to share my thoughts around which altcoins I think will fall out of the top 10 and which ones could be a surprise breakthrough into the top 10 going into 2023. Smash a like, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get straight into the content. Now, before we get into this, I want to step back and remind us of where we were at in December 2021. Yes, that was a year ago. I know it doesn't feel that, it feels like, yesterday, but that was a year ago. And as you can see, Bitcoin was sitting at $50,000 on Boxing Day last year. You can see Ethereum sitting there at 4,000. It feels like a long way away compared to where we're at now, which is Bitcoin sitting at 16,800. You got Ethereum at 1,200, right? It's been a painful year. But let's remind ourselves of from the 26th of December 2021 to the 18th of December 2022, I've just taken this snapshot from 6 days ago, we want to see what has happened to the top 10, right? So let's start off. Bitcoin and Ethereum. They were sitting in the top 10 this time last year. Do we expect them to be in the top 10? Yes, I'd even go as far to say I expect them to continue to be in position 1 and 2. And they've done that throughout this year, right? They stayed in position 1 and 2. We're going to skip past stablecoins, although there's an interesting conversation to have around stablecoins as well. But just for now, we'll assume that BNB is next up. So again, if we go back a year ago, Binance Coin was in third position as well, sitting at $546. Do we think this cryptocurrency can remain in the top 5? So again, it held its position of third coming up into this year as well. Do we think it can hold? Well, I've made a few comments about Binance, and it's interesting to cover this off because one thing we need to understand is with Binance Coin, we've just had the whole drama around FTX. We've seen there's been some, let's call it spillover fears and uncertainty around Binance as well. It doesn't help that the FTT token has been deemed a security by the SEC as well. So what ramifications could this have for BNB going into next year? Remember, they've been unable to list BNB on many other exchanges apart from Binance.us in the US. So this is having huge ramifications as well. So definitely one to keep on your radar. Could there be a little bit of a shakeup for BNB? But one thing to note for sure, this, until the recent speculation, has been one of the outstanding performers of 2022. BNB has continually outperformed Bitcoin during this bear market, and that shows the strength of the token, okay? But you've got to understand that if it's being deemed a security, this could have various implications as well. So you don't want to get caught out having too much allocation in something like BNB. Okay, so then let's go back to last year, and we can see that after Binance, we had Solana. So basically, Solana was in fourth, ignoring stable coins. You had Solana. Now, coming into where we're at now, where's Solana gone? Right? Obviously, we know Solana has dropped down to 16th spot, taking an absolute hammering, and this is one of the big failings of 2022. Obviously, given the FTX fallout, Solana has taken a huge hit. Do I think they'll recover back into the top 10? I think this is a cheeky one. I think this is one that could sneak its way back into the top 10. We've got to understand, right now where we're at peak fear, right? We are at peak fear in terms of Solana and what people think about Solana. Now, do I think it can recover back to some of its glory? That's going to be a different question. But what we're actually asking here is, do we think it can just get back into the top 10? Can it get into 9th spot, 10th spot? I think it's possible. You've got to remember, there's still a lot of transactions that go through Solana. It's a blockchain that's functioning and it's very fast. So whilst there are up and coming layer 1 solutions, which we'll come on to shortly, you cannot completely write off Solana in 2022. Does that personally mean I'm loading up my bags anymore on Solana? No, I've shared my opinion on Solana a few times on videos recently. I don't have the confidence in the team right now to be loading up on Solana, but I do have a bag which I've held and continue to hold. I've not added to that bag. I've not sold that bag. I was lucky to get a low cost entry, and therefore I've just kind of held that bag. Do I think get it back into the top 10? I kind of think it can, and I think it could be a little dark horse because a lot of people are writing off Solana given the 2022 it has had. So then after Solana, in the next spot, we had Cardano. Okay, so Cardano this time last year was sitting at $1.46. Now we've got Cardano sitting at 26 cents. And look, it's still in the top 10, but it's now sitting at 9th, right? If you ignore some of these stable coins, you've got 3 stable coins there. We're basically talking 6th. But we've got XRP ahead of it. You've got Dogecoin ahead of it now. Do I think Cardano can stay in the top 10? This one's a 50-50 one, guys. And I think if we continue to have a prolonged bear market, I think Cardano is one of those that gets disproportionately hit to the downside. Okay, so Cardano is one where if we do have a prolonged bear market, I expect it could struggle and maybe even fall out of the top 10. But if we get some resemblance of the market starting to do well, whether that's mid to late 2023, I think Cardano will start to run and people start to realize how undervalued it is in terms of a layer 1 solution. So that's one of those where I'm going to sit on the fence on it slightly, but I'm leaning towards it staying in the top 10 and climbing slightly higher here. And part of that is going to be because I think some of the others could be falling down a notch or two as well. Okay, moving on, then let's look at XRP. Now, you guys know I like to stay out of the XRP debate. Generally, I'm not too focused on it as a coin. I don't hold the coin. I don't add to the coin, partly because, not because I don't believe in the technology of the product, but it's just I don't want to get involved in something which is a complete roulette play on an SEC case, which we have no control over. So for me, if it was something I was holding going into it, then of course I'd be part of the XRP army. And we are still part of the XRP army because we want them to defeat the SEC and set a good example. Here, do I think this can stay in the top 7, in the top 10? This is a risk, right? And again, it's all going to come down to the SEC. If we get another year of kind of stalling and no noise, I wouldn't be surprised to see it drop down a couple of places. But every time you've doubted XRP, it's continued to show its strength and stay there in the top 10. Do we have space for something like Terra Luna? Well, obviously not, right? So Terra Luna this time last year was sitting comfortably at 9th spot through the early parts of 2022. It was doing okay, and then boom, collapse. Summer of 2022, Do Kwon and the team completely failed this project, and this fell, catapulting not just out of the top 10, but out of the crypto ecosystem as a whole, opening up another spot. So Terra Luna has obviously got taken out this year. Do I think Dogecoin can stay in the top 10? Again, another one, I would not be surprised if this falls out of the top 10, right? But in order for it to fall out of the top 10, Elon Musk has to do something like set up a new cryptocurrency or kind of accept a new cryptocurrency outside of Dogecoin, right? So if we see that, then I could see Dogecoin falling out. If Elon decides to create his own crypto Twitter currency, then we have a bit of an issue in terms of Dogecoin will fall to the outside. But on the other hand of things, if he decides to use Dogecoin as a payment mechanism, not only could we see Dogecoin stay in the top 10, I can even see it climbing a couple of spots as well. So definitely, I do see there being a big spot for meme coins in 2023. I do think there'll be a hidden meme coin which does well, whether it'll be Doge, whether it'll be Shiba, whether there's going to be something completely new. That's what we're going to have to find out, because that's not too obvious, but there is always enough market cap going around for one or two meme coins to do well. That has proven itself in every cycle. Again, if we go to last year and you look at what we had Shiba Inu just in 13th spot. So again, if you take out without stable coins, it's at 13th spot, which is impressive. Okay, that's a good move on a meme coin. So again, don't be surprised to see one or two meme coins break into the top 10 in 2023. Polygon sitting at 10th spot as we speak currently. Do I think it's going to stay in the top 10? Absolutely. In fact, I think it's going to further consolidate itself in the top 10. I think if you're the Polygon team and you get to the end of 2023 and you're not kind of sitting in, kind of XRP or Doge's spot up here, you'd be a little bit disappointed with your performance in 2023. Having done so well during the peak of the bear market in 2022, when all the odds were against every single cryptocurrency, you'd back yourself as the team at Polygon to continue to make good progress. ETH 2.0 is done. That fear is behind you as a layer 2 solution, with many people saying, oh, there's not going to be room for layer 2 given ETH 2.0. And now you can plug on. So good strength by Polygon. And again, if you were to take out 1, 2, 3 of these stable coins, Polygon is already 7th, right? So it'd be one of those that want to, push itself up to 5th and 4th and battle BNB up here for this kind of a position above XRP and Doge. I would not be surprised to see that. Next up, what do I think about Polkadot? Again, Polkadot, when you take out the stable coins, has managed to retain its top 10 position, which is really impressive. If we take a look at where we were at this time last year, Polkadot was sitting at 10th. So if anything, Polkadot has managed to pretty much sit in the same spot, right? It's 9, it's climbed up a spot, which is really impressive given that it's had a bad 2022. And I've made numerous videos saying that Polkadot, since the end of 2021, where it did really well fulfilling its white paper, doing their auctions, there was a lot of hype around some amazing projects built in the Polkadot ecosystem, it just fell completely flat in 2022. But despite that, despite what I would say as being a virtually non-existent year for Polkadot, it still managed to show its strength, and it's still sitting in the top 10 when you take out stablecoins. So for me, if Polkadot do anything better than this year, which by the way, they've set themselves such a low bar, if they just have a good year next year, I would not be surprised to see this climb a couple of spots, sit at 9th, maybe 8th at a push here for Polkadot, but definitely a project which I still believe in and I think could do pretty well and get itself back into the rungs up there. Okay, so that's what I think is going to go on with this top 10. Now, which ones do I think are the biggest risks of falling out? One, I know this sounds crazy, right? But it could be Binance Coin. If this whole narrative around it being a security continues to play out, I think exchange tokens will struggle. I also think there's been a change in narrative and people are starting to understand that exchanges use their tokens as a flywheel mechanism to perpetuate what they're doing. So I think there's a lot more attention to that given the FTT saga, and I can see there being a little bit of scrutiny around that. Then when I look at XRP and Doge, I see two really big communities which already are sitting on bags. So the only way I see these kind of falling out of the situation is not by their market caps falling, but by the other market caps of projects around them just growing faster than them. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't believe the XRP army is going to dwindle. I don't believe the Dogecoin community is going to dwindle, right? But I do think other projects can start taking momentum and dropping those a couple of spots down. So I will not be surprised to see either XRP or Dogecoin fall out of the top 10. But again, those are such binary plays, right? Elon Musk says, I'm going to use Dogecoin. Boom, amazing 2023 for Dogecoin. XRP have a good settlement in the SEC case. Boom, amazing 2023 for XRP. So those are roulette plays. Those are not just clean investments. They're a little bit more, binary, a flip of a coin type of plays. Then you look at Cardano. I think it's still going to be in the top 10, but it's got its work cut out. It's not a given. Like if you were to ask me this time last year, would Cardano be in the top 10? I would have said yes, and I would have been right, but only just, right? It was not easy for Cardano this year. So again, it's not going to be easy 2023 for Cardano. If they don't get their stuff together, they will fall out of the top 10, and that could be a major move to the downside for Cardano. Then my narrative is, what do I think could be the surprise narratives going into 2023? What do I think could be the things which people aren't thinking about but could break into the top 10? And my vote is going to go for decentralization. I think if there's one thing we've learned through 2022, and we're sitting here at this time of year and trying to, analyze and be a little bit, just do a little bit of introspection, what we will notice is that the biggest failings throughout this year have been through centralized players. FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, 3 Arrows Capital, Celsius, Voyager, centralized plays where there's too much centralization of power. Even in the Terra Luna example, it was a centralization of power in Do Kwon's hand in terms of the LFG and the reserves that he had. So when I look at the narrative of what I think could have a breakthrough 2023, I almost think there could be this resurgence and a reminder for the crypto space overall that this is about decentralization. And if my bet is going to be around that, then there's two projects which I would be looking to as having potential. And the first would be Uniswap. I think Uniswap could have a really powerful 2023. You can see currently Uniswap is sitting here at 17th. Could that do well? I mean, if we take where it was sitting this time last year, it was sitting at 18th. So it's barely moved in its position. I think this could have a standout year in terms of Uniswap. The biggest decentralized exchange. Could it build some momentum? Could we see a year where, given the FTX and the Binance FUD and all of this, people really start using decentralized exchanges? Now, I don't think it's going to be this mass adoption where every single person is using it, but could there be a significant audience that says, you know what, I'm going to start using Uniswap. I'm going to set myself up on a wallet. I'm going to use Uniswap. I'm going to move it to a cold wallet. I'm just going to try to stay away from centralized exchanges because 2022 was full of centralized exchange failure. The next narrative would be, what about a privacy coin? What about something like Monero? And Monero is sitting at 23rd spot right now. If we look at this time last year, where was Monero sitting? We were seeing Monero sitting at 44. So that would not have been a bad bet on Monero, right? Monero has jumped up 20 spots in the top 10 during a bear market. And again, these are the narratives you want to be thinking about. When everybody's thinking about the next exciting meme coin and this, who's thinking about Uniswap? Who's thinking about Monero as a privacy coin? Right? But these are the kind of narratives you could start to see being built up through 2023, particularly given the pain we had in 2022. Now, what about the normal run-of-the-mill stuff? What else do I think? I think there could be a few other curveballs. I think Phantom has a huge chance of breaking into the top 10. I don't think it's going to be easy at all. They have to have an amazing 2023. And at the same time, Andre Cronier's got to really start pushing things. We've got to see some updates. And you've got to have a good market. I don't think Phantom will push into the top 10 until we have our next green market with Bitcoin starting to roar. So if we don't have that, then I'd rule Phantom out of being in the top 10, but I think it will have a good solid year. But if we see the markets roaring, I think Phantom could surprise a lot of people. I think a slightly easier bet to get into the top 10 would be something like Near Protocol. I think something like Near Protocol has got the attention and couldn't do a good job. It's sitting at 34th. It'd have to have a really big climb here to get back into the top 10. And my biggest obstacle for Near Protocol getting into the top 10 is they are slightly overvalued in my opinion. So again, I've made a few videos breaking this down. Go watch them about Near Protocol. But I just think the valuation is slightly over-egged compared to something like Phantom. Maybe I'm being spoiled by something like Phantom and Algorand, but I just feel like it's overvalued. But in terms of a tech and how well it's used, definitely that's something which could surprise people going into 2023. Okay, so what else do we have? Do we have anything else? Avalanche, again, this is always going to be there and thereabouts. If we take a look at where Avalanche was last year, it was doing a lot better, right? Avalanche was sitting here at 11th spot. Now, if you look at where Avalanche is, you're looking at Avalanche at 19th. Okay, so it's dropped a couple of spaces. It's had a difficult 2022. Again, wouldn't rule it out doing pretty well. It's got amazing tech. It's a good layer 1 solution. The subnets they've built are good. The team they've got is built good. But again, what's going to be that pizzazz? What's going to be that something special for it to break into the top 10, which is a hugely contested top 10 now? You've got a lot of amazing projects sitting there trying to hold that top 10 spot. You've got something like Algorand. Do I think it'll make it to the top 10? Very difficult. I don't think it'll make it into the top 10. Near Protocol we spoke about. Hedera, do I think it'll break to the top 10? No, but I wouldn't be surprised if it had a good year. Do I think anything else here? No. Chili's, I don't think that'll get into the top 10. No. Sandbox, no. Decentraland, no. Phantom, we spoke about. That's a huge feat, right? Sitting there at 60th. It's going to be very difficult for it to get into the top 10, but I can definitely see it consolidating and working itself into the top 20. I think they could have, if they set that as a target for themselves going into 2023, that's definitely something that's achievable for a project like Phantom. Which projects do you think can break into the top 10? Comment below which are the ones you're backing. Which ones do you think will fall out as well? So just give me a comment with which ones you think are going to go into the top 10, which ones you think are going to fall out. And also, let me know what is your surprise coin, because the reality of any of these cycles is there's always something which is going to surprise you. There's always going to be the next Shiba Inu. There's going to be the next layer 1 solution which people aren't thinking about. And that is why it's so important that we keep our ear to the ground when listening in for new projects, because the reality is you won't know until a couple of weeks, months before, when you start to hear murmurings of a new project. You do your research, you do some analysis, and then you're like, you know what? I think this project could do awesome. So that's why it's important you guys subscribe. Make sure you smash up likes. Don't forget to subscribe as always. Check out this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.